Hi, welcome back to Chaos to Calm. I'm Sammy, and if you're new here, hi, I'm so glad you found us. So this podcast exists because a few years ago, I was sitting in my kitchen, 2 a.m. in the morning, completely exhausted, completely lost, and completely alone. And I couldn't find a single place that felt like it was made for someone like me. Not a therapist, not a helpline, not a Facebook group, where people seem to have it more together than I did. Just somewhere for a mum who had absolutely no idea what she was doing, who was terrified, who was grieving the life she thought she'd have, and who needed someone just to get it. So today, I'd like to talk about something I've been building quietly in the background, something called the Harbour. And I want to be honest with you about why it exists. The reason is really personal, and it's probably your reason too. So the reality nobody talks about. If you're listening to this podcast, chances are you're living a life that most people around you cannot ever begin to understand. You might have a son or a daughter who is struggling with emotional dysregulation. Maybe they've been diagnosed with BPD or EUPD. Maybe it's CPTSD, panic disorder, severe anxiety, depression, or some complicated combination of all of the above. Maybe you don't have a diagnosis at all. Maybe nobody has given you a neat label or a clear answer. Maybe you're just living with the chaos every day and wondering, what on earth is happening to my child? And either way, diagnosed or not, label or no label, you wake up every morning not knowing what the day is going to bring and have that permanent churning in your tummy. You will have probably cancelled plans. You will have probably sat in a car park outside a supermarket trying to pull yourself together. You've probably smiled and said, yeah, we're fine. To someone at work, yeah, I'm fine, thanks. When absolutely, inside you are running on empty. Because here is the thing nobody tells you. There is a particular kind of exhaustion that comes with all of this. It isn't just tired. It's the kind of tired that gets right into your bones. It's the kind of tired where you've been on high alert for so long that you've actually forgotten what it feels like just to breathe. And on top of the exhaustion, there's the isolation, because you can't really talk about it. You actually don't know who to tell. You don't know how much to share. You're scared of being judged as a parent, as a person. You're scared people will look at your child differently. You're scared they'll look at you differently. And when you do try to talk about it to a friend, a family member, or even a GP, sometimes you get that look, that well-meaning but utterly useless look that tells you they really don't get it. And you know what? They can't. Unless you're in it, you genuinely cannot understand what it is like. Now, that's not their fault, but gosh, it's lonely. Really lonely. So a bit about my story and why it matters to yours. My daughter has emotional dysregulation. She also has BPD, CPTSD, panic disorder, depression, anxiety, and along with that, some physical issues. Her struggles are rooted in childhood trauma. But I want to say something really important here, and I will come back to it. When I was in the thick of it, really in it, I felt like I had nowhere to turn. I did not understand what was happening. I didn't have the language for it. I didn't even know what emotional dysregulation even was, and I certainly didn't know what BPD was, let alone say it. I didn't know what it was, I didn't know what it really meant, beyond the stigma of it. I'd absorbed from somewhere about it was linked to schizophrenia or something. It isn't. But I didn't understand why my daughter could go from 0 to absolutely overwhelmed in what felt like seconds, and why nothing I did seemed to help, and more often than not seemed to make it worse. I was searching for answers at 1 o'clock on my phone. I was reading things that scared me more than helped. I was trying to be everything: the calm parent, the crisis manager, the researcher, the advocate, while also just trying to have my head above water. And during all this, I kept thinking, there must be other mums doing this. Where are they? Why can't I find them? There's got to be. I can't be the only one. There were forums. There were clinical resources, kind of. There were things that felt very medical, very detached, definitely not written for a mum sitting on the bathroom floor at midnight. What I needed wasn't really more information. I needed easy information. I needed a place where I could say, I don't know what I'm doing. And someone would say, me neither. But here's what's helped. A place where I didn't have to explain the whole story from scratch every time. A place where I could be honest about how hard this is without feeling like I was failing my daughter by admitting it. That place didn't exist. So I'm going to build it. For you. So what the Harbour is, and who is it for? So it's a community space. It's a membership for mums and parents who are navigating exactly what I've just described. And I want to be really clear about who it's for, because this is really important. You do not need a diagnosis to belong here. I said my daughter's struggles come from childhood, but that is not a requirement for joining the Harbour. Whether your young adult has a formal diagnosis, whether they are still being assessed, whether they've refused any kind of help, and a lot do, whether there's a clear reason or absolutely no reason at all, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you are living it, that you are the mum who's holding all of this, that you're running on fumes and love and sheer determination, and you need somewhere to land. That is enough. You are enough. You belong here. The Harbour is designed to be the thing I wished had existed for me. A place where you are not alone in this chaos, where you can find support from other mums who genuinely understand. And not because they've read about it, but because they're living it too. Where you can access tools and guidance and gentle practical help without feeling too clinical or overwhelming. It is not a therapy group. It is not a crisis service. It's a community. A harbour in the truest sense of the word. Somewhere to come when the storm has been going on too long and you just need somewhere safe to rest for a moment. So the thing I never expected was when I started this work, I thought I was building it for other mums. And I was. But somewhere along the way, I realised I was also building it for me. Because the act of creating this space, of saying out loud that this is real, that it's bloody hard, that mums like us deserve support too, has been completely part of my own healing. For a long time, I've put everything into my daughter and left nothing for myself. And I think a lot of us do. We pour and we pour and we pour until we are completely empty. And then we wonder why we're not coping. So the Harbour is built on the belief that you cannot sustainably support your young adult if you are completely depleted. And that is not a luxury belief, it's a practical one. You matter. Your well-being matters. not instead of your daughter or son alongside them. So if part of you is hesitating because you feel like focusing on yourself is somehow a betrayal of your child, I really need you to hear this. Taking care of yourself is one of the most important things you can do for them. So the Harbour is open. It opened a couple of days ago, and I genuinely cannot wait to welcome you in. If you want some more info, you can find all the details over at chaostocalm.org.uk, but I will also put the link in the show notes. And if today's episode resonated with you, if you heard yourself in any of what I said, please share it with another mum who needs to hear it too, because that mum is out there, sitting in her kitchen, thinking she is the only one. And she is not. She never was. I'm Sammy. I am your calm in the chaos, and I will see you in the next episode.